Israel's war on Hamas is having ripple effects across the Middle East. The conflict is rekindling tensions in Israel's neighbor to the north, Lebanon, with its fragile and divided population. Some in Lebanon support the Iran-backed Hezbollah, which has threatened attacks against Israel. Other Lebanese fear their country, which has been grappling with a severe economic crisis, could be dragged into a full-scale war.
This Lebanese engineer is worried about his future. He is supposed to leave Beirut next week and start a new job in Saudi Arabia. Now, he's not sure if that will be possible. Many airlines have suspended flights to Lebanon over security concerns, and the country's state-owned airline has moved its aircraft to neighboring airports due to the growing violence on the Lebanese-Israeli border.
The country is in financial crisis, so I decided to leave, and I got a job opportunity in Saudi Arabia. I should be travelling by the end of the month, but now I'm worried that the airport will be closed or flights cancelled. I thought of leaving to a temporary destination right away, but after considering the expenses, I can't afford this option. I'm anxious and I don't know what to do.
The conflict in Gaza and Israel is driving a further wedge into Lebanon's already divided society. Fears are growing that tensions on Lebanon's southern border could escalate into a larger confrontation with Israel. For some, this is a nightmare.
We are scared, of course. We don't want conflicts, and we are already in a crisis.
We're worried about engaging in a war. The country is devastated and facing economic collapse. We're not ready for war, but it looks like we'll be affected by what's happening in Gaza.
Lebanon must not go to war. We're not ready by any means. The economic situation is terrible. It's impossible to handle a war.
But across the street, other Lebanese are organizing protests in support of Gaza. Some are even calling for military action against Israel.
We're all concerned and we should be unified. If we don't support Gazans today, Israel will attack us tomorrow.
We are not scared of joining the fight. It's our duty.
Of course, we support that Lebanon joins the battle because we are one people.
If we don't support them, who will?
Divided opinions among the public are a reflection of the political polarization in the country. Lebanon has been without a president for a year now, after 12 failed attempts by parliament to elect a new head of state. The caretaker government is barely operational and is out of resources. It is far from ready for a war.
الحكومة عم تعمل كل شيء ما يصير في حرب. أما ولا سمح الله إذا وقعت الحرب رح يكون في أكيد نقص.
The government is working to prevent war, but if it happens, we will be faced with a shortage of medicine, fuel, possibly internet cuts.
المستشفيات موضوع الأمن الغذائي موضوع الأكل موضوع القمح.
Also, maintaining our hospitals, food security, and supply of wheat are great challenges that the government is tackling, and we are seeking assistance from international organizations.
As fears of further conflict grow, many countries have advised their citizens to leave Lebanon. Meanwhile, like most Lebanese, Mohamad is left with uncertainty.
And DW's Mohamad Chreyteh, who filed that report, joins us now from Beirut. Mohamad, Hezbollah has been exchanging daily fire with the Israeli army across the Lebanon-Israel border. Describe to us the current situation along that border right now.
Well, the rounds of skirmishes and cross-border shelling have become a daily routine on the Lebanese-Israeli front. It has remarkably increased in scale and geography over the past days since Israel evacuated thousands of Israelis from its northern border towns. And on the other side, Lebanese who live in the southern towns near what is now a front line left their homes and moved north towards safer residence and shelters. This indeed contributed to the escalation of military operations and gave advantage to the Israeli army and Hezbollah to intensify and widen their strikes. However, at this point, this does not mean that the status quo on the Lebanese-Israeli border it changed. The fighting, the actions and the reactions are still within the acknowledged rules of engagement by both parties that we've witnessed since the round of violent clashes emerged on October 8th.
Now, senior representatives of Hamas and another Islamist militant group in Gaza, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, understand they've been holding talks with the leadership of Hezbollah. Hezbollah based, of course, in Lebanon. Now, they released a picture of one of these meetings yesterday. What do we know about these meetings, Mohamad?
Well, little information have come out of this meeting, but truly a big significance. Now, this trio meeting between the head of Hezbollah, the head of Islamic Jihad, and the vice head of Hamas is not unusual in Beirut, but its timing is significant. It's the first, at least that we know of, since the conflict in Gaza and Israel emerged in October 7th. We have been seeing these type of meetings between Hezbollah and his regional allies right before the surprise attack that Hamas launched on Israel. This again is a coordination meeting, at least that's what media sources close to Hezbollah said. We know that all three parties receive fund, logistic and political support from one backer, Iran, as they are part of the so-called resistance axis. They have always talked about sharing information and being part of one military and political kind of operations room. They were also clear about engaging in a strategy that unifies the fields of confrontation with Israel and the West, as they say.
Mohamad, thank you very much for bringing us up to date there. Mohamad Chreyteh, our correspondent in Beirut.